It is a subject with polarized opinions, organized labor. We now begin our series, The State of the Unions. Noreen, you have spent weeks researching this topic.
And Len, I found out is a very controversial subject with one underlying emotion, fear. Union membership has been declining since the 50s when it was at its peak. Times are changing. Tonight we begin a look at the union culture. Are they a dying breed or here to stay?
We are the union. We are the union. Mighty, mighty union.
It's one thing for a man to say that I'm not going to give you more. It's another thing for a man to say that I'm going to take what you already have.
When they aren't happy, they go public. This is the image many think of when they think of unions. But how it gets to this point is where the debate begins.
I think labor unions in the modern economy are much like the dinosaurs in the tar pit of La Brea.
Bayard Harris is a lawyer for companies. And anti-union typically?
Always, we think unions are, in well-run companies, superfluous.
Harris believes they used to have a place when working conditions were deplorable. Sweatshops, slum housing, children on the job. But he says workers don't need unions for protection anymore.
OSHA's been in place since 1970. Family medical leave is now available. The Disabilities Act, the Age Act, the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
But what the government gives, the government also takes away.
Mike Santos teaches about unions as a history professor at Lynchburg College.
To make a blanket statement that unions are not necessary is probably unfair and put in a middle-class judgment on a working-class experience that very few of us have any kind of real experience with.
Corporate greed is powerful.
Dwayne Campbell is the president of the Communication Workers of America, Local 2203. He doesn't believe the government is protecting the worker.
I know of several instances in which the Labor Department has not enforced the laws that are on the books.
For union members, it all comes down to fear, that the bottom line is corporate America's only concern, and the union is indeed their only protection. You think that the company would just do away with benefits and good pay if there were no unions?
In a minute. Recently Verizon just did away with the retirement packages for their managers. So you know they would love to do that as well to their employees. And companies, in turn, fear unions.
I would say unions do scare companies because, again, it gives us strengths in numbers.
I contacted several non-union companies in our area to see how they've been able to keep the union out. One first agreed to talk, then backed out. Another said corporate wouldn't allow it. One said unions might actually be on the horizon there and they didn't want to talk about it. And finally, another wouldn't respond to my request at all.
Employers don't want to draw attention to this concern. Why have a union discussion campaign if we can go on without that?
So what is so wrong with having a union? Next on Virginia News Tonight, we'll look at the challenges and the attitudes and hear from a former insider too afraid of fallout to show his face on camera. Len?
We now continue our series, The State of the Unions. Noreen Turyn joins us now. And Noreen, you found it very difficult to get companies to talk about this subject.
Partly because they can't, Len. The rules are very strict. A company cannot say anything which might seem like union busting. And what they will say is very guarded. They don't want to hurt an already fragile relationship. And as you just heard at 6, non-union companies don't want to put the idea in their workers' heads. It's a fear and mistrust on both sides that makes it such a difficult subject to explore.
One of the things that history teaches is that stereotypes never fit.
But there's a long history of stereotyping on both sides, that union members are lazy, corporations are evil, and both are greedy.
I see corporations as one thing, and that's a competition between CEOs to see who can get the largest salary, who can produce the largest profits.
In the environments where we have seen union campaigns started, the people who instigated tend to be those persons who are having attendance problems, who are not top performers.
Unions do take away flexibility. Contracts typically include set schedules and break times, pay scales, and job descriptions. Some call them socialistic. No one can get merit pay. Senior employees get promotion regardless of ability.
While it is easy to administer, it does determine who has the right to enter certain jobs and classifications, certain departments.
They promote mediocrity in your mind?
In my mind, they do, absolutely.
If everyone is always to be treated equally, where's the incentive to work harder than the guy next to you? Or is there incentive to work less?
Actually, I was told that I did too much from a union perspective.
This man we'll call George wanted to hide his identity for fear of retribution. He spent more than 20 years as a union member and believes they often protect the wrong people.
How many people do you know that can hold a job and it's 100 days of work in the first 180 days of the year? Not very many, right? But the union still was asking him to see if they would allow, if they could arbitrate on his behalf to get him back.
Unfortunately, there's good and bad with everything. As president of a local, I'm charged with representing all my members. And it's not me to dictate whether they're a good or a bad worker.
Dwayne Campbell says George's scenarios are not typical, that they don't see union membership as a license to slack off.
Without the companies that have employees, there would be no need for unions. So it's in our interest to have the company as profitable as it can be.
Many of the union companies I did speak with say they have come up with union-wide incentives like profit sharing, where everyone benefits from increased productivity. Tonight at 11, we'll look at the future for unions in our country and what they need to do to survive.
Union membership has been steadily declining, but the tides may be changing.
Noreen Turyn is in our studio with the final part of our special report, State of the Unions.
Well, Len, as you know, Virginia is a right-to-work state, which means you can't be forced to join the union at a union company. You do still work under the union contract, you just don't pay the dues. That already makes a dent in union numbers here. But with membership down nationally, many say it's going to take a change of thinking for unions to survive, and a change of thinking on both sides to keep conflict down. Back in 1993, frustrated workers at Delta Star in Lynchburg launched a strike.
We left with no alternative but to come together as a group and ask that they do us right.
It was horrible.
Bobby Fouty was on the line at the time.
Didn't get a paycheck for, 5 weeks, and at the time I was married with 2 small children, and I had to do some other things to support them.
But he didn't feel he had a choice. The union and company were ardent adversaries.
That is in the past.
Things are very different today.
I think that people have come to understand each other better.
Ivan Tepper became president of Delta Star a few years after the strike. He's been working hard to change attitudes.
We are for a common goal. I think more so nowadays, we're understanding that we all are dependent upon one another.
Just speaking for myself, I can say I trust management here now, where before I couldn't do that.
A company today that gets a union and loses a union election did not treat its people well.
Lawyer Bayard Harris works with management to keep this from happening. Better practices, more open communication. He says the proof is in the numbers that companies are getting better. In the 50s, some 35% of the workers in the private sector were unionized. Today, it's around 8%.
92.1% of the American workforce is non-union. Why would 92.1% of the American workforce be wrong?
But are workers really more trusting of corporate America, or is it more that the focus of corporate America has changed?
We've moved increasingly from an industrial-based society to a more service-based economy.
History professor Mike Santos says unions need to keep up with the times.
For unions to remain relevant, they really need to start thinking about organizing a whole different cadre of folks.
I think you will see membership grow. I think it's starting to turn the other way.
That's because union groups are trying to raise the numbers. The Change to Win Federation has split off from the AFL-CIO, and its purpose is to organize more people. They're looking outside the traditional union box, like Walmart employees or custodians. Now, if you'd like more information on unions, we have set up several links on our website. You can go to WSET.com.
And it is some interesting reading. Thank you, Noreen. Students at Liberty University are exploring government ethics.